action. Do you ever take a picture that's kind of boring, but it just doesn't quite look like it did when you took the shot? It's kind of bland, needs some pop. That's what the radial filter is good for. This Lightroom Develop panel can get really overwhelming. I'm going to show you real quick how to use radial filters to really bring a lot of life to an otherwise bland photo. So I've got a picture here of a senior. First thing I'm going to do right off the bat, just to get me going, is hit the auto button. Kind of brings things into balance, but it's still just kind of boring. So what we're going to do is open the radial filters. You can see here, once you have the radial filters open, you can draw a circle or oval, however you want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the subject. You can see there's two lines here. The inside filter is going to have the full effect of what adjustments you add. The outside is going to feather to that location. So you can drag it to make it what size you want. You can drag the feather in and out. In Lightroom Classic, there's a separate one for filter for the feather over here on the top right. So I'm just going to cover her skin area with this. Think of these like spotlights. Like you've got a light, you want to shine on what's important. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to invert this one. When you invert it, it makes all of the effect take effect outside of the radial filter instead of on the inside. So I'm going to hit the invert, and what I'm going to do is just bring down the exposure just a little bit. I'm going to bring the contrast. You can do any of the adjustments that you do globally. Most of them you can do to the radial filter itself. So what I've got there is a circle or a spotlight that's only affecting the outside of the circle. I'm going to do another one. To do this quickly, I'm going to hit the duplicate and invert mask selection. It'll duplicate what you have and select the opposite of what was done. See, the white here is the part that's affected. When I do this again and do duplicate and invert, it's only affecting the inside of the circle now. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to bring her face up just a little, and I'm going to feather that, give a little soft fall off, make the target her face right here. I want the viewer eye to go what is the brightest part of the photo, so where your eye goes. So I'm going to put that on her face. So we could stop there. We're doing a lot better. I'm going to do a couple more. I'm going to put some over her eyes. That's the wrong one. Did that just to test you. I'm going to do a radial gradient here. Zoom in a little bit so you can see better. And I'm just going to put this over her eyes. You can pivot it, drag it to where you want. Don't worry about doing both of them at first. Right now we just want to get one dialed in. So we're going to bring up the exposure just a little. Don't go too far unless you're making a Marvel comic poster. You just want to be very subtle. Less is more. You can bring up the contrast, turn down the highlights a little bit. Just play with these dials. If you're not sure what they do, just crank it all the way up, and you can kind of see how it will affect what you're looking at here. You can adjust the white. Sometimes when their eyes are in shadow, they look a little gray. You can use this to bring them up. You can also do all of the tone curves. You can improve the saturation. I usually go up a little bit on the saturation. So she looks a little bit more starry-eyed, so to speak. I also will like to add dehaze. This is adding haze. This is removing haze. It just gives her a little bit more clear look. So what I'm going to do with this one is you can go on screen and you can duplicate it. It duplicates it right over where you did it originally. You can take that and we're going to drag it over here to the other eye and we'll resize it. What's cool about this is anything we do to these two, if I want to go just the right eye different than the left, you just go select it in here in the mask panel, and it shows you which mask you're going to be affecting. You can also do one, let's say we do a radial gradient over the lips, like that. You can make the feather really more in the middle. You can come over here. You can do a lot with this simple tool. You can bring up the saturation, take down the saturation, but we're just going to give her a little bit more color in her lips. Let's zoom back out. Whoops. That's not what she's like. She needs oxygen if her lips look like that here. There we go. And it keeps doing it again. I did that to show you what happens if you don't get off of the button. There you go. So now, that was a simple hide the mask panel. It'll hide your stuff. Here, let's fit this in the screen. Sorry, I was not prepared. I'm gonna fit this on the screen here, and I'm gonna hit the before and after for you. Here's before, here's after. Let's look at what it looks like with the individual mask. You can turn on the mask, turn off the mask. Hold to hide the mask. So there's without the mask, there's with the mask. You can see it puts spotlight kind of on her face and draws your attention to her eyes and face. So hold it down, there's again without, and there's with. Let's see if I can do this with full screen. Really push my limits. Detail full screen. Here we go. Let's do that again. Let's see. Here's before, the original, and after doing auto and putting some radial mask. Here's what you got. Go give it a shot. Let me know what you think.